Hold on, I'm pulling something up real quick. I can't find the original for Dark and Darker update. But here, I'll just pull this one down then. Ooh! Light mode? No, you know what? I don't even feel like force darking it, to be honest. I'll just leave it there. Thanks to the resub user, Houston, Cammy, Blue, and the Prime Sydney, the bits Token, and Alex. Actually, you know, it's just 2 clicks. It's fine. Thanks to tier 1 deniable, and the 5 gift subs noble. Yeah, I do plan on watching some of that Rises, but not tonight, because I think 40k looks very cool. Thanks to the resub Keister. And the resub Chris. You gonna be watching WrestleMania 39? It's tonight, right? So probably not. I've got plans tonight. Thanks to 5 gift subs Mikey. And the gift sub Bean and tier 1 Elite. And the resub Sweet. It's tomorrow and Sunday. I thought it was tonight and tomorrow. Okay, well yeah, if it's tomorrow and Sunday, then yeah, I'll watch. Sure. Thanks to the resub Wiz, Smurf, and the bits Breaker and Fate. Haven't seen the new TCG cards, Fate. Thanks to the resub Jordan. Hold on, give me 1 second though. I'll be right back. All good. Alright, I'm back. Thanks to the gift sub Hazard and the resub Reeve and Frizzy. And the resub Astro. Oh god damn it, now something fell. Hold on. Alright, now I'm back. Thanks to the resub Step Bro and Chronix. Just saw this on Asmon's stream. It's not looking good for Iron Mace. Well, it's not like any new information came to light that made it tough. It's just they know what we all know. They don't have the money to fight an org as wealthy as Nexon. So it is a little scary, yeah. But not because they'd lose the case, but because they literally can't afford to fight it. There's the Prime JK, Subi, Snow, and the Tier 1 Carbonated, Tier 1 Cookie, and Tier 1 Gummy. And the gift sub Park, Gore, and the resub Snorlato, and the bits Whim. This is about Dark and Darker. So they posted an announcement in the Discord, which got a little fishy for a moment. So this announcement got posted, but then it got deleted thinking that the account had got hacked and that the GoFundMe was a scam. But then it came back saying, well, actually, no, it might not be a scam or a hack. And then they're like, okay, it is real, not a scam, not a hack, just misunderstanding. And then once again, GoFundMe page was taken down. Okay, then it just got removed again. So yeah, this whole thing is just all over the place, really wishy-washy. There's the resub. Suede. Glad you like him, Natalie. So there will be a GoFundMe? That I don't know. There was for like an hour, and then it got taken down, then reposted, then taken down again. So I don't know. It's still down as of right now. But to be honest, I don't know how much that's really going to help the studio. Thanks, resub Bojangle. And the resub Nozel. And tier 1 Whim. I'm sure they'd get a lot of support from players. Yeah, but they'd need millions upon millions of dollars. Like, it'd be very, very difficult to crowdfund that kind of legal case. This isn't like, God, who was it? H3H3 in that goofball? Well, it was an expensive case. It was still 6 figures, but this is 7 easily. It's not even close. And that's just a hard thing to fight. There's the Bits Dumpy and the resub Logan. Best thing for them to do would be sell a lot of their equity to a US company and have them fight it. Interesting suggestion. Asman agrees with Nexon on what? I think they did a great job of proving that their case is fragile. I did see Kira's video on it, which was a more neutral take, but I still walk away from that thinking that Iron Mace is still far more in the right than they are in the wrong. So I don't really see how they'd side, how anyone would side with Nexon. Here's the Prime Jazz and the resub Odyssey. Well, what is Asman saying in defense of Nexon? Because I haven't seen any good arguments for Nexon. Asman just doesn't believe Iron Mace? About what? Because they proved with receipts that all of the assets are literally not Nexon's. That they are straight from the Unreal Marketplace. Everything that they named in Exhibit D was systematically proven to be wrong. Which is a huge point in their case, is that they stole assets, and then trade secrets is another one that doesn't hold any water at all. Receipts are fake photoshopped. What are you talking about? It's an Excel spreadsheet with... I'm good for now. I'll have some later.
Wow. I cut them all, brought them up here, and you didn't even buy any of them?
I'll have them later. I just ate a lot, so I'm really stuffed. They look good, though. They smell good. Things a Prime Sloth and the resub Barracuda. I'll have this one, I guess.
But I don't care. That one's just a plain sugar cookie with thick icing.
It's good.
If you don't want to eat full bite, put it back.
Okay, yeah. That's a lot, Jesus. Thank you.
I cut them up so small.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks the resub Aiden and the gift sub Artificial and the Prime Drama. The resub Comrade. Nexon would win hands down from this from what I've seen with Kira's newest video. I just don't see how. I don't get how we're walking away with such different impressions from Kira's video. What there would make Nexon the winner in this case? None of their claims really work, since a lot of it hinges on them stealing the assets, which they've proven they didn't, and also that they stole trade secrets to make it, which you can't really make an argument they did. They just made a game in the same genre. I already watched it. That's why I'm saying that. How we walked away with two very... Is anyone even listening? We watched the same video and walked away with very different impressions. Do people just hear what they want to hear? I am saying I watched Kira's video on it already, which was a much more neutral take on the whole situation, but I still walked away thinking that Iron Mace has a very strong chance against Nexon. If you work for a tech company, your intellectual work is owned by the company. If you go make the game that's functionally the same in all respects, it's not your IP. But again, that's copyright claiming an entire genre. Because they didn't. It's just the same genre. That's like saying Respawn Entertainment should be able to be sued by Activision forever because they're making first-person shooters. It's just the same genre in the same setting. A setting that's existed for hundreds of years. It is generic fantasy. And in Nexon's own lawsuit, they even state a storyline in the game, which Dark and Darker doesn't even have a storyline. Thanks for resub Valkyrie, CJ, Universal, Blitz, Neutral, and Canny. They were Nexon employees and used that experience and connections to make their own game. Yeah, they left the company to work for the other guy that also got let go. But I don't see why that would fucking matter. Because again, it's just making a completely different game from scratch in the same genre. Which I don't see how that would infringe on trade secrets of a genre that they don't own. And then fraudulently claiming that they stole assets, which they didn't, and then proved. It's not a completely different game, that's the argument. I mean, but it literally is. It's just the same genre and same setting. We've never seen P3. We've never seen anything from P3 aside from the screenshots, so it's the same setting and the same genre. That's it. That's the only commonality they share. The assets aren't stolen. That claim is debunked completely. So that one can't hold up. Not stolen, but the same. They're Unreal assets. They're Unreal Marketplace assets. Thanks to Prime, Linden, the resub, Bless, Amorous, and CJ. Oh, every company has a non-compete clause, I imagine. So maybe that could be an argument. I haven't seen Devin Nash's video on it. I'll check his out. Maybe he makes some other points that are more convincing.
One of the most important discussions in the gaming industry right now concerns a game called Dark and Darker, a game that was recently removed from Steam, a phenomenal game that is under allegations that it was stolen from a company called Nexon. There has been a ton of information around this topic, and we need to make sense of it. This is a video that answers the questions that everybody is asking. Is there legitimacy to Nexon's claims that this game is stolen? Is what Iron Mace is saying correct? What is the actual truth of this, and how do we break it down? And I have spent a ton of time sourcing this, so join me on this journey to figuring out the real truth behind Dark and Dark. And it turns out, I found out that this actually has implications to the entire gaming industry. And it goes way deeper than what we thought. All right, so this whole thing begins here on August 5th in 2021, where Nexon showcased 12 new games they were making. And one of these games, if you scroll way, there's a lot of games here, but if you scroll way down, you're going to see a kind of familiar image that is here. It's called P3. P3 was a project that is a survival dungeon experience with internal to Nexon, and it was alleged that they were working on it for some time under a couple of big names that you're going to hear over and over again. So the first one you're going to hear is Ju Hyung Choi. And that is the lead dev of P3 at the time. Now, he actually left later, and we're going to talk about that, and went to form another game studio with another person, a person named Terrence Park, who is the current CEO, also known as Park Mo, who is the current CEO of...
Why is it called P3? Well, it wasn't a finished product or anything. This was just in-house developed, like pre-alpha shit.
And
so it was a working title.
Everything was hunky-dory, basically. But the first thing that happened was that COVID hit. So the development of P3 was basically happening within Nexon. And then COVID hit, and everybody had to go home. So what happened was Mr. Choi basically asked Nexon, hey, since everybody's at home, I need to keep developing for P3. Can I have a server that sits at home and I can work on it with my employees? And Nexon said, sure, that's fine. And that went on for about a year as the COVID lockdowns continued. But then after a year, so after 1 year of working on P3 at home,
give sub McKinsey and resub Mikey.
Mr. Choi asked Nexon again if it was still okay to have the data at home on his personal server. At this point, Nexon says no. So basically, Choi agrees to that, as far as we know, and starts to remove files, but apparently keeps some stuff running. And in the response from Iron Mace to the situation, they actually confirm that. So they actually say, okay, they did have the data, and they did keep it. And at this point is where we start to see the problem. So shortly after this, and now we're at June 2021 in the timeline, Nexon accuses Mr. Choi of stealing the files from P3. Basically transferring them off.
Yeah, we're not going to watch the whole thing. I'm just curious to see like the crux of his argument in defense of Nexon's claims.
Server somewhere else. And here is where everything begins. All right. After this, and right during this point, both Terrence Park, who was the secondary developer and now the CEO of Iron Mace, and Mr. Choi leave Nexon to start a game studio. And 9 people from the 20-person team at Nexon go with them. All right, and then about 6 months-ish later, we have Dark and Dark. So that's basically the chronology of what happened. The first announcements were here in August, and I'm going to show you so many resources. Oh, my goodness. So this is kind of the first announcement of P3. You can sort of see a lot of the products they're working on, including P3 down here, and a little bit of an explanation of it and what it is. So all this goes on, and the development, and so the lawsuit actually begins. The actual lawsuit begins in July of 2021, very shortly after June 2021 when it was accused. And the lawsuit, this is where stuff starts to get really important and specific, and this is the kind of information I could not find from other people. So this lawsuit, which starts here, this is the resource, and I will have a Google Doc that links all of these resources because it took an incredible amount of time to find, and there's a lot of misinformation about this topic on the internet, especially from like Reddit and places like that. So the lawsuit begins here. This is it, and the lawsuit specifically concerns a particular statute of Korean law. And this is a really important thing that we're going to, like, this is one of the most important things you're going to get from this video, is what this is about. So a lot of people think that this is a lawsuit about IP infringement, meaning that this is a lawsuit that concerns well, this is the same game that was made, and we want to take this down under DMCA because this was the same game as P3, and they can't do that. But what this lawsuit actually is a lot more important.
The lie detector
guy? It is a
guy?
lawsuit concerning the Unfair Competition Prevention and Trade Secret Protection Act. Okay? So Nexon is not alleging necessarily that, or really it doesn't matter, that the game is the same as, whether it is or not, the P3 game being the same as Dark and Darker is not as relevant as the reality that of what's going on here. The concept that should people who are working at a company and have trade secrets, you're going to see that come up again and again, that have trade secrets, that know something internally about a project, should they be able to take that project and then go build that project on their own, basically walk out of that company. And you're going to see, I'm going to show you a take from, the most popular video on this is from a person named Moist Critical. Now, Moist Critical and I go pretty far back.
Hey,
but
thanks,
he has
Devin.
a take here that's kind of interesting that I want to listen to. And that's going to kind of frame what we're about to talk about. So let's listen to that take right here.
Hold on, I'm going to take a guess at what the take is. Copywriting the genre. Because I'll say it again. Even this, the trade secrets is literally a very well-established genre. It's an extraction genre in an established setting, fantasy. It's two things that have existed far before P3 and will exist far after, and isn't exclusive to Dark and Darker or P3. I don't see how you could ever make an argument that those two things in tandem are a trade secret owned entirely by Nexon. That's my guess. But this especially. And I'll go a step further. Maybe we're getting into dicey, spicy territory. Oh, this is where I say I don't care if they stole from Nexon, because Nexon can suck my dick. Still believe that. If they did steal from Nexon, fine by me. I can't stand that company. Though that argument wouldn't hold up in court. Here, but I'm just gonna say it with my whole chest. If all of Nexon's claims are accurate, Dark and Darker did take that idea from Nexon. Stand back, you spittin'. And even if they used a couple of assets that they developed while working at Nexon, I don't give a fuck. In fact, I view them more as heroes. I respect them more if they did that. Because Nexon can suck the dirtiest part of my asshole. God, this guy's so right. Holy shit. I think that would be great if that really was the case.
All right.
Amen.
Give me a
stack of.
I actually think this is kind of a more nuanced take than that.
Give me a stack of Bibles.
Take is like,
fucking
sure,
spitting.
like, let's say that this actually did happen. Who cares? Like, let's let everybody go out of a company and go build something on their own.
Whoa, hold on. Let's not. Hey, that take is exclusive to Nexon. Nexon in particular, and especially with this, because like I said, nothing they did there is unique. Nothing about Dark and Darker is unique. Literally nothing, which is why half the game is 90% Unreal assets. I very much spit on the idea that it is a trade secret to combine extraction and the most well-established genre in fucking human history, fantasy.
This is kind of the opinion of a lot of people that loved Dark and Darker, and people that have that opinion. Now, look, I'm about to say some pretty crazy stuff. So I'm just gonna click on this button right here. I'm gonna drag it over. And you're gonna see on my Steam. This is my Steam. See Devin Nash right there. Okay. Playtime, 72.9 hours on Dark and Darker. Okay. I am a enormous fan of this game. Like I cannot tell you how much I loved this game and wanted it to come out. I am one of you. Okay. So the stuff that I say in here is my best take at trying to give a non-biased opinion. All right. So there is something bigger at play here than just Dark and Darker coming out, which I really, really want to happen. All right, and the example I'm going to use is, let's say Blizzard is building Diablo 4, okay? And that there's a lead dev on that project, okay? And maybe some other devs. And those devs say, you know what? Like, it's like 6 months to a year or a year and a half into development. You know what? We don't really like Blizzard or Activision or kind of like what they're doing. They kind of have the predatory pay-to-win mechanics, and like they're kind of turning this game into something that we don't want. So we are going to go take all that stuff, and we are going to leave, and we're going to build Diago 1, and it's going to be a game about angels and demons that fight each other, and with ARPG elements where you run around a world and kill monsters. But it's not Diablo 4, it's Diablo. And anybody says that it's not, that it's Diablo is wrong, and we could do it. Okay, so like, should they be able to do that? That is really what the entire thing of this is going to be about. And as we get into the really deep legal stuff, that is what this is about. Should people be able to walk away from a company with the knowledge that they have from that company and then immediately build a project and just quit and do it? Now,
my answer would be very circumstantial. Let me take a quick one off the top of my head. I went to double check, that's what I was typing. Dota in League. League was literally developed using the information from Dota in order to make League. And both became staples in the MOBA genre in order to push that whole genre forward. So the way I look at it is, yes, in certain circumstances, absolutely. Thanks to the bits Colt, Nerd, and Giga in the resub Sharp Shot. What about the non-Unreal assets? Are they No. The assets thing is just blatantly wrong. That claim is wrong. That one's already proven false. But like Devin said, that's not even like the core of it. Though I do think if you're making wrong claims in Nexon's position, that should be taken into account. But still. Dota 1 was a mod, to be fair. Yeah, same thing though, right? You're still taking the trade secrets from Dota and then building something pretty much the same and doing it outside of the company. P3 was never released. I don't see what that necessarily changes about the statement, though. And it was never released because Nexon is a terrible fucking company. That's not what they're claiming. They're claiming that the devs knew which assets to get due to their work at Nexon, not that they used Nexon assets. Now we're just making shit up. Their actual claim in the lawsuit, if you read the cease and desist, is that they stole assets. Not that they knew which assets to get. Brother, they're just Unreal Marketplace stock assets. So like, oh, I need a shield. I'll buy one on the Unreal Asset Marketplace. That's just a bad claim, but I can see why it's a little more nuanced than IP infringement. That much is pretty clear here from the Korean sources Devin's using. I'm not blinded by the fact I hate Nexon. I hate Nexon, but I still just completely disagree that Extraction, a genre that's existed for years, and fantasy, a genre that's existed for 1,000 years, is all of a sudden a sacred trade secret. That's something someone could have stumbled upon completely outside of P3's dev team. But they were working on it at Nexon, and then built it outside of Nexon. And there actually is already another game that's very similar. And I forgot the name. Something like I'm not even going to bother trying to fucking butcher the name. But the point is, it's not like this unique, super individual idea. Half of it is Unity or Unreal assets, and it's two very well established genres to begin with. Thanks to the resub Souls. And the Prime Emo, and the resub Future. Another example of this is with Titanfall, with the creators of originally working on Call of Duty. Well, there's a difference here. It's Korean law. So like Devin said, it's not even really a matter of IP. It's just a completely different thing. These are the bits Monty and Matt. It should boil down to whether a non-compete or NDA was signed by the former employees. If they did, Iron Mace is in the wrong. If they didn't, Nexon is. I imagine there had to be some kind of non-compete. That's just like such a standard protocol for American businesses. I imagine Korea would do the same. What a shame, because P3 is never coming out, and if it does, it's just going to be an absolute terrible pile of dog shit from Nexon, as everything they do is. What a shame. I saw the documentary made for the Moist Apex team. It was really nice. Has Dark and Darker officially been canceled? Well, no matter what, even if they are completely in the right, they'll never be able to fight against Nexon, which I think is pretty clear now. Thanks to Tier 1 Aubrey. And the Bits Adonis. And the Bits Toast. That fucking sucks. The game has so much potential. Well, someone else is just going to make it. Again, the vast majority of that game is Unreal Engine. Or, oh, Jesus, why do I keep butchering it? Unreal Marketplace assets. Maybe the 25 gift sub, Sam. Hope you had a good day. Really appreciate it. So a different team's just going to make the same game, and it's not going to be Nexon. It's just going to be an American company. And Nexon won't be able to do anything about it. But the game's going to be much worse. Thanks the Bits Gibbs. But yeah. It's just not an IP issue, clearly. Could another company scoop them up by chance? I don't know, probably not, because then they'd have to take on the legal battle. Thanks to the resub chicken and the Bits Dowland. And the resub DD. Is Dark and Darker over them? It's looking like it. Not even because, like, even if they could prove their innocence 100%, they just can't fight it. The announcement they made in Discord today made it very clear that they just don't have the capability of fighting a company like Nexon. It's too expensive. And you'd never be able to crowdsource a legal fund of that magnitude. So yeah, that's probably dead. But at least we still have Nexon and all of their great games, like... Yep, that's it. None. Thanks, resub Pedro. They did crowdsource $50K in an hour. Brother, this is not a $50K kind of lawsuit. This is multiple millions and years of litigation. You're not going to be able to crowdfund that. Thanks to the Bits Kirito and the resub Rachel. And they still might lose. Yeah, and they still could lose. Thanks to the resub Trey. I can't remember the name of it, Goblin, but if you just look up the Apex team's name, you'll find it pretty quickly. Thanks to resub Iron Man. So is this American or Korean court? Korean. Which is why it's far more nuanced than I would have assumed. Even though they can disprove 3 of the claims in the lawsuit, the core claim is one that they can't really fight on, I guess. Thanks to Prime Blue Moon. You think Nexon will still go through with releasing P3? No. Thanks to the resub. Shrutini and Beansprout. Damn, that's sad. Well, looks like we'll never see Dark and Darker. Thanks, resub Marigreen. Well, I don't play Nexon games anyway. Even before all this, I've hated Nexon for a long, long time. But even then, they just don't make good games regardless. The last Nexon game I played was one I played during Shitty Game Night. The Cartwriter game. The one where I was shit-talking children because it comes with built-in open mic and I didn't know it. There's not exactly like a good Nexon game. Unless you're stuck in like 2009 with Maple Story. Unless Maple Story's had a huge overhaul. Hold on, quick text message. Thanks to the resub Crackhead Greens and the Prime Halo and the resub Rose.